Welcome back to another episode of Mojo Talk Radio. And I'm very pleased to have one of our favorite recurring guests. And I will let her explain who she is. You've met her before, but I just love her energy. And I have to keep bringing her back here because not only is she fun to be with and talk with, and she fills the room with her personality, but she brings that wisdom in a way that we really need to hear it in that everyday voice, tone, and language that we really need to understand. So I would love you to welcome back Victoria Lorient-Faibish. Victoria, welcome back to Mojo Talk Radio.
Oh, thank you so much, Pamela. I'm so glad that we get to do this. I mean, it's bi-coastal. I'm in Toronto, you're in Victoria. I just love that we get to do this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Victoria, tell us a little about yourself. Who are you out in the world, and how do you help people out there?
So I'm what I call myself as a holistic psychotherapist. So prior to becoming a psychotherapist in 2005, I got a master's degree. But prior to that, I had a very busy practice as a holistic practitioner, in which I work with polarity therapy, craniosacral. I'm a Reiki master, reflexology, all the body arts from the Eastern philosophies. And about 8 years of education in that, I brought that into the talk therapy realm. So here in my office in Toronto, I do body-centered talk therapy in which we talk about stressful topics while I'm doing body-centered work, a way to tap into hidden wisdom and into that subconscious aspect of a client.
Nice, nice. So I brought you back here today, Victoria, because there was an aspect of a question I had that came up about us knowing what we need to know. We have wisdom in us. We came here with this wisdom, and we run around everywhere trying to help somebody, to find somebody to help us excavate it. Or I like to use that word, excavate it, or pull it out.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And I don't even think we're aware that we even have it. We're looking for answers outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
And you are somebody, like you just said, you work with the different modalities, body, energy centers, things like that. So you know quite well that we have that wisdom running around with us. I call it mojo. It doesn't matter what you call it. We have it. So at this point of the conversation, I really want to ask you, how can we get ourselves to find that wisdom that we walk around with all day long?
Well, the number one thing that is 100% certain is that life will slow us down quite profoundly if we don't listen. So I myself just recently, I walk around, I'm a holistic psychotherapist. I'm so walking my talk, and I don't get sick, and I take vitamins, and I exercise, and I meditate, and I'm the bee's knees. So that was just me kind of saying, I'm so proud of the fact that I've mastered my immune system, etc. Well, didn't I get sicker than a dog? Early June, we were going to do a program, and I was just sick. I couldn't speak. I had fever. I was like, it was like life saying, stop your treadmill and tune into your deep self and listen to what is trying to be said to you. Yeah. So I was made to stop more than I even thought I needed to stop. And that brought me to a profound, it just helped me deeply to look at what was happening within me. And I started to I was telling people, I have not been as sick. I was telling you that sick since I was 14. And I thought, what was happening at 14? And in fact, there was all kinds of information in my illness about my 13, 14, 15 years old self. It needed to be really, excavated. I think that's the best word. I needed to look at that. Yeah. And so I got some real amazing insights about all of that.
Nice.
And I believe that, when I do talk therapy with clients and the body-centered work, the energy work, and I cover the eyes so that the person is sort of like without the senses. They're not sort of tuning into me, this blonde kind of therapist. They're kind of they're inside themselves, and they're really listening to the wisdom of the body. And that is what we do here in this office, essentially.
So, Victoria, let's break that down a little bit.
I have a massage table, and I have a couch.
There you go.
And I have a library.
Well, we need a couch. We need that couch. Let's break it down a little bit, Victoria, for the listening audience about what do we mean by hidden wisdom?
Well, it's living below consciousness. It's not fully obvious to us. I mean, it's living sort of in the part of our body that is, or in the part of our being that is less than conscious, essentially. So it's subconscious. And it's speaking to us in little patterns, in little repetitive words, in little repetitive inklings. It's speaking to us in intuitive, sort of like fleeting thoughts that we need to stop long enough to go, what is that thought about? Mm-hmm. You know, essentially, I'm sure people who are out there listening will have thought of, you know, I really should, as an example, oh, I really should, I'm drawn to water. You know, why am I drawn to water? What's that about? And people need to listen to that wisdom. What's the wisdom? So suddenly they'll say that to me, and I'm like, well, are you drinking more water? Is your body dehydrated? And they're like, yeah, maybe that's what it is. They didn't need me to tell that. They knew that, but they wanted sort of a therapist like myself to kind of go, maybe this is what's happening for you. But essentially, wow, the light's all over the place here. Essentially, there is an opportunity at every turn if we quiet ourselves to listen to what it is that the universe or our higher self, I don't care how we put it, it could be our higher self, it could be the universe. There's a higher wisdom that is associated with us that has information for us to live our best life.
And it's, you know, it's a funny thing that you say that, because yes, I do get inklings of it, and I have those moments of intuitive knowingness.
Yes.
Whatever you want to call it, or I usually say the information dropped into my head about something. Yeah. And sometimes it's the opposite.
Drop in. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes it's the opposite of what I believe I should be doing, right, which I think is the sort of pull and tug with this information. I think I should be going that way. My brain says, go that way. Intuitively, the information says, no, go that way.
Yeah.
And then that's where the struggle comes, right?
Right.
So how do we tune into the truth of this thing?
Well, sometimes I talk about, you know, go to the path of least resistance. So somebody said to me once, if that door doesn't open, that door is not for you. And it really discouraged me when I heard that. I'm like, really? Oh, come on. Doesn't that mean I need to be more persistent? Wait a minute. Come on. Don't say that to me if that door didn't open. But there is something about less struggle that is so profoundly part of a growth journey that is not ego-based. Mm-hmm. Because it's so important to listen to. I think it's important to, I mean, listen, and none of what I'm saying here, I don't struggle with this notion of, I know what's best for my life, you know, this kind of thing. You know, oh, I know what's happening. You know, I have all the answers. But interestingly, when I start to meditate more, when I continue and deepen my meditation practice, my intuition is speaking much louder, and a much more flow message is in my intuition versus a push message. Okay. So it's less push, more flow is the messaging.
What do you mean by push? What is it that we do that signifies that we're pushing at something?
If we're struggling, I mean, do you have any examples of struggle, like maybe even case studies? Like I can think of, I'm going to do it no matter what, I'm going to do this thing no matter what. I'm going to leave no stone unturned. Leave no stone unturned.
That's my everyday. But for me, what it is, it's about a trust factor. Yeah. Leaving it to forces that I can't see or can't control.
Right.
And maybe sometimes just waiting. And in the waiting, feeling that I should be doing something to help.
And waiting can create a little anxiety as well.
Yes. And waiting, and I feel that maybe if I'm waiting, I should be doing something, because in our society, doing nothing is not really well celebrated, right? You need to always look busy.
Well, I think that there is a conflict in our society between, like, for example, I was discussing this with a colleague the other day, the life coaching energy versus the sort of, let's say, Eastern philosophy energy. You know, life coaching is you make your life happen. And I'm a life coach as well as a psychotherapist. So it's like you make your life happen, you plan it out, you get an action plan, and you just tick off that list and you get real clear about what you get real focused and you go and you get laser beam in your focus and you go for it and go for it and go for it. And then there's the more Buddhist, more Taoist, more Hindu, just more Eastern philosophy, which is more the thing that, the meditative aspect, which is just flow with this thing. Just let this thing be. Don't be
allow your life to unfold.
Allow it to just reveal itself to you. Exactly. And I think that there's a bit of a tug of war with these two concepts. And I think it's a bit of both, because I definitely am an East meets West kind of a person. I definitely am. I'm a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. I'm a little bit, East, and then I'm a little bit West. And I've had, Buddhist teachers tell me, slow down, Victoria, slow down. And I hate it because I'm an Aries and I like to go for it. I like to just, and yet I know that if I don't slow down, my health suffers. It's very simple.
Yes. Yeah. And it's
very, very simple.
And it
did. And it wouldn't let up. It was one of those nasty colds that wouldn't let up.
Yeah, I had that right here for months. Yes.
Oh, baby. And it just would not let up. And I was like, come on, my old 1-2 punch concoction with, garlic and oregano oil and all, it just wasn't doing it. It was just sit your ass down. And stop. And that's tough. That's tough for the Western mind.
Very tough. It's tough for us, especially as entrepreneurs, where the multitasking, you're the boss, you are, it's all up to you. If it's going to happen, it's because of you making it happen. All of that thinking gets in the way of us experiencing that, the stillness, the voice, the lead, the intuition, the wisdom.
That's right.
And you know what? As entrepreneurs, we go through a lot of training, and part of the training, the self-care training, talks about meditation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I go through these morning rituals where I spend some time, and then, okay, check it off. I'm done. Now let's jump in, right? So, it's about helping people to understand the entirety of who they are, because it's their brain, and then there's their mind, their whole body mind, which is not up here. It's everywhere, and it extends out from us. So what do you do that can help us understand how to connect to that wisdom that we walk around with all day long?
So for me, it's like a fishing expedition, going on and understanding the clues that are being dropped into my being. And when I work with clients, I'm asking them to pay attention to the clues. And the clues usually live in the pain. The pain has wisdom. Yeah. And people want to go away from the pain. And I say there's no way around the mountain. You got to go into the pain. Yeah. And you got to listen to the pain. Because if the mere act of deeply listening to the pain, whether it's a painful feeling or a painful emotion or a painful symptom in the body, when I had this lung thing, it's like going deeply into it was very painful, but yet in there lived a tremendous amount of grief that I needed to listen to. And only when I listened to the grief and cried and felt it deeply, that I obviously was sort of denying. And it was an old grief. It was a grief from my 13, 14, 15 years old. That was the opportunity for me. Like once I really listened to that and developed I encourage people to be very compassionate for their pain. Don't be impatient. Don't be impatient. Be kind. Be self-loving. Be self-accepting. Treat yourself as a loving parent would treat you. Yeah. Yeah. And usually there's a child in you. And that's usually where the pain, not always the child, but often it's the child in the pain, whether it's the pain, the physical pain, or it could be the pain of feeling rejected, or the pain of feeling inadequate, or the pain of feeling insufficient, or the pain of feeling not pretty, or the pain of feeling not successful enough, whatever it is,
Mm.
I encourage people to not, it's like therein lies the clues, the wisdom, the untapped wisdom lies in the pain. So we want to kind of, as horrible as it's going to sound, we want to kind of bless the pain, even though that's really, really hard to say, oh, thank you, pain. No, it's not. It's like it's hard.
Well, isn't that where we get ourselves into trouble, Victoria, is avoiding the pain?
Yeah. I mean, it's just the avoidance of pain. We become so adept at avoiding pain. Yeah. So good at it, but it is, denial is, as they say, a river in Egypt.
It is, and when I say pain, it could be, there's a whole spectrum of pain. The pain of writing the report or doing your taxes, to the pain
Right.
of reconnecting to a childhood trauma and everything in between.
And procrastination is what happens. And, the procrastination is a habit of avoiding pain, essentially. That is what procrastination is. It's the habit of avoiding pain, because there is this thought that if we enter into the project, whatever it may be, that we are going to do it badly, or that it's going to be tough to do, or it's going to be painful to do. So we go in about the business of playing Candy Crush, or doing some avoidance of whatever it is.
Netflix, copious amounts of
TV,
time on Netflix, drinking.
Yeah, right. Anything to not experience the pain. Yet we need to say to ourselves that there is this incredible feeling, amazing feeling of completion that will come from doing that thing. So it's a way to get over, the horrible thing of procrastination, which I find people, which is one of the symptoms of avoiding pain.
Yes.
And pain avoidance is, to me, I cannot tell you. And what I want to say is this. Well, 3 thoughts coming in at once. Sorry about that. I want to say that it'll come to us initially as a mild feeling. And then if we don't listen, it'll come to us as a stronger feeling. And if we don't listen, it'll come to us as a bash over the head with a 2x4. And if we don't listen, basically we're going to be remanded to our home and not be able to leave until we listen. And it just, the symptoms get worse and worse and worse until we pay attention.
When I went through my downtime, my time out in the corner a few months ago, one of the things I recognized as my wisdom teaching was that I had to learn to say yes to myself. I wasn't saying yes enough to me. I was saying yes to everything else and everybody else, but not enough to me.
And what did you need? What was the yes you needed to say to yourself?
I had to give myself permission to be Pamela. I was too busy hiding. It was about unmasking more and more and allowing myself to just have what I want. I wasn't doing that. I thought I was. This was the interesting part. When it came to me that I wasn't doing it, I'm thinking, well, that's not true. I'm doing what I want to do with myself, but it wasn't coming across that way. There was a certain inauthenticity to it still. I was feeling, okay, I'm done for the day. Let me take it all off, and tomorrow I got to do it all again. I wasn't flowing into it the way that I could. And it took me months to catch up to that understanding. I learned it, but it took a long time to align to that.
Okay.
And when I finally did, I started shutting things down and changing things. I changed my website. Everything is now moving along in the way that I want it, not how I think everybody else needs to see it.
I love it. Honoring yourself.
Honoring.
And there's a lot of experts out there. There's a lot of experts out there, but I really encourage clients. The clients are really tempted to say, what do you think, Victoria? What do you think I should do? Well, I'm like, you know what? You're the expert on you. You are the expert on you.
Yes.
And so, but I don't know. I'm undecided. I understand, but you haven't stopped long enough to tune into the wisdom that your body has so that you can have the answers be revealed to you. And that is something that I really, really encourage myself to do and others. It's like, you have the answers, but you've just got to stop long enough for the answers to reveal themselves. And people say, well, the answers aren't coming. I said, well, you haven't stopped long enough.
It might take longer than a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, it may take, meditating every day for 20 to 25 minutes for a month. I mean, that's okay, right? That's
So
okay.
do you encourage people to practice this maybe with another person, like yourself, for instance? Because sometimes people just don't trust themselves enough that they do have that answer. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, a trusted therapist, a trusted friend, a journal. I think journaling is really, really important.
Yeah.
Also, connecting with nature,
Mm.
like you do every day with your
Yeah.
beautiful walks in Victoria, BC.
Yeah.
Connect with, I mean, I don't think connecting with others so that they give you the answers is the way, though.
Yeah.
I think that you have to be with a therapist or with a friend that lets you have the space to find the answers for yourself. No matter how you slice this or dice this,
Mm-hmm.
I do not like it when people say, well, my therapist said I should, it's like, no, you have answers. I will periodically give a little bit of advice, but mostly it's not advice giving in therapy. It's more just giving a space for the person to just feel their own feelings and listen to their own wisdom, and giving them, especially with the body work, the space for them to slow down enough that they've got information that's coming from their own body, mind, and spirit, and they're slowing down to listen to it, and they get their own ahas. And I feel that, if you can't afford a therapist, journal, have a sauna and then journal, go on a walk and then journal, go on a walk, sit by a tree and
journal
journal.
with you. Take your journal.
Exactly.
Sit on a log.
Sit on a log and write, the other thing I think that's really, really amazing is listen to guided meditations. YouTube is full of free guided meditations.
Yeah.
I have a really good free one on my website, visualizationworks.com, where I have a free meditation that people can access, and they can just it's 15 minutes. It's a nice, long, chunky one. And they can just access the inner wisdom through I'm basically taking them on a visual journey inside themselves, And it's just, to me, it's just a really powerful thing to do if you claim you love yourself.
Yeah.
That's the thing to do, is pay attention to the inner wisdom that your body is filled with and your mind is filled with. Now, I just want to say this. Some people will say, my mind is full of anxiety. So it's full of what ifs and worst case scenarios. So I don't want to listen to my mind. I got news for you. You've got to get past that to get to the wisdom.
Yeah.
So, meditation will help you do that. Supplementation will help you calm your mind naturally. Mindfulness-based meditation will help you, get rid of the gremlins and get to the wisdom. So
it's sitting there. We just have to go in and welcome it and pull it out. It's there. It's sitting there.
Absolutely. And, pay attention to chronic symptomology. So a chronic throat issue, a chronic jaw issue, a chronic, like the body has a lot of maps. So, for example, traditional Chinese medicine, we have all these meridians. There's the kidney meridian, the liver meridian, gallbladder meridian, large intestine, small intestine. Go and visit perhaps a traditional Chinese medicine person, or just look up on the internet the meridian system and see where your pain is repetitively in that area. And then go about the business of understanding what that meridian is about.
Yeah.
So for example, you might have chronic pain in your neck. Well, that's gallbladder meridian. Well, what happens with gallbladder meridian? Well, gallbladder meridian is, a lot of unresolved anger. So what's the anger about? Go about the business of asking your body. So that's the fishing expedition I'm talking about,
Okay.
Or you've got throat issues constantly. Well, maybe you're not expressing yourself enough, or maybe you keep holding information in and you are basically stopping yourself from speaking because you're afraid that someone will not like what you say, think, or do. Yeah. That's okay. Talk to yourself. Befriend yourself. Turn that inner bully into an inner coach.
Mm.
You know,
So
talking.
how can we use this, us entrepreneurs use this maybe to help spiral up our business opportunities, successes? How can we partner in with our hidden wisdom, almost like a business partner?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because I think that anytime um, in my own business, my own entrepreneurial self, I find that, for example, I would have, I would do videos, I do all kinds of videos, and I would constantly find myself, as an example, like, here's the thing, listen to your voice on camera and listen to your voice on video. Because in that, you're going to learn what your energy is.
Yes.
If your voice is too loud or too abrasive, pay attention. Become conscious of these things.
Yeah.
Pay attention to these types of things, because you're going to see how you come across to others by watching yourself on video.
Mm. Okay.
You're going to see how you come across, because a lot of entrepreneurial stuff is about our relationships with other people.
Yes.
You know, we're their clients, they're people that we're doing business with. And if you're feeling like that's not happening with those other people, tape yourself, have someone interview you, listen to your voice, and the voice will give you how it sounds on the video, will give you immense clues as to how you sound to other people.
Okay. Okay.
That's one thing that I have done, and I find it really, really helpful.
Okay.
And the other thing, one thing I just want to say is there's this amazing thing called conscious networking that I talked about.
Okay.
So in business, we're doing all this networking, and we're going to networking events, and we're doing all this networking stuff and meeting a million people. I'm like, if you meet one or two people that you make a real connection with,
Mm-hmm.
coming from an authentic place, that to me is more valuable than a room full of business cards.
Absolutely.
Right? And I also find that when a person, for half an hour prior to the networking event, does positive affirmations like, you know, I am beautiful and everyone thinks I'm beautiful. I am loved and everyone loves me. I am valuable. I am worth it. That energy arrives in the room before you do.
Mm.
And I
Nice.
say, do it in your car, do it in the mirror, do it before you leave the home, wherever, however you're getting to the event, just do that. I love people walking to the event or driving to the event with these beautiful self-loving affirmations, and then walk into the room, and don't take my word for it. Give it a try.
Oh, that's great. And I was going to ask you that too. You know, when we're as business people walking around in our day, meeting new faces and new
Yeah.
opportunities, are we able to read the ones that are for us based on how our body reacts to everybody that we meet? Is that part of that wisdom thing I'm talking about?
I think it's a vibration that we put out. So I think if we're putting out a fearful, self-loathing, self-critical vibration, we're going to magnetize to that energy.
Okay.
But if we put out, you know, a positive, self-loving, self-compassionate, not grandiose,
Yeah.
self-compassion. Self-compassion is what I think I'm really, really talking about. I
Yeah.
really feel like we will attract that energy toward us. And pay attention to your spidey senses.
Mm. Yes.
Pay attention.
Absolutely.
You can tell when someone's not for you.
Yeah.
You
And
can
you know, and
tell.
our big old brains say, well, no, you got to meet people and you force yourself into a situation. You know, a lot of bad marriages start that way.
Yeah. Yes. Pay attention, because if you feel like, I love this something that was told to me. Pay attention to how you feel when you're with someone. So if you're feeling a little bit rejected or a little bit sort of off, but I mean, maybe it's you and your own BS.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe. But maybe it's them.
Yeah.
So excavate.
Excavate.
Don't
Yeah.
just take it, don't just say it's you and oh. No, it might be you, it might be them. It's worth some information. It's worth excavating a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
You know? Pay attention.
So all of this really is about paying attention to all this and not just, you know, what we put on our bodies. It's what's emanating from outside, from the inside out, is the issue here. That's the wisdom I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And the wisdom that ends up around us, the vibration, the energy that you spoke of just a little bit ago. It's always speaking to us, even when we're sleeping. It's speaking to us.
Oh, absolutely. I see it like a beacon, like a heat-seeking missile. You know, our thoughts are, and the other thing I want people to do is to pay attention to their inner running commentary. You know, you might be this affirmation goddess. Oh, it's all wonderful, it's all fabulous. But inside you're like, gremlins. You know, pay attention to your inner running commentary. Stop enough that you are going to listen to what you're saying about life, about yourself, about other people, about the opportunity in front of you, about the situation in front of you. And that's harder than one might think, to just stop and listen to that inner running commentary. And let's face it, if that inner running commentary is concretized thoughts that you learned from your family of origin, I encourage people to go about the business of taking a chisel, a metaphoric chisel. And
let's say that again, a metaphoric
chisel, and chisel through the concrete thought so that you can, you know, create new neural pathways and new thinking. Because that inner running commentary, if it's something you inherited and doesn't match you anymore, really work to undo it through meditation, through affirmations, through therapy, through journaling.
I disrupt myself when I hear it coming.
Love it.
I just go into this thing where I just disrupt it, right? Or I either shout it out or say, you know, whatever I have to say, my safe word, and I just stop it physically. Or
Correct,
I just talk to
and cancel.
Yeah.
Correct and cancel, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes I say to people, listen, let your system fully feel that gremlin. Really look at it and see usually it's the bully, the inner bully. And look and see what this inner bully has to teach you. You know, maybe that inner bully is just trying to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Maybe that inner bully is just trying to make you a better person. But it's going about it in a terrible way.
It's beating us up badly. It
That's
really
right.
is. You know, if we talk to people that way, we'd probably be sued for defamation of character.
So true.
Yet we so easily do it to ourselves, and then we wonder how we're running around ad nauseum looking for the fix, looking for the answers, looking for the solutions.
Yeah. And also the other thing is, I say one of the hardest pieces to learn and to really, really work on is patience. You know, it's okay. It's okay if it takes a little longer. We're not really in competition with others, even though we tell ourselves we are, but we're not.
Yes.
You know, we're just not. And that is, me personally, that is definitely something I have really worked on, is like, everybody is working at the pace that they're working at, including me.
Yes.
And we don't need to, we're not in a competition. So I think Louise Hay said, you know, put the blinders on and look forward. Don't look to the side constantly. Put the blinders on and go forward.
Nice. So Victoria, what are you working on now that you're back on your feet and going strong? What is it? What's on your plate now?
Well, as I said, you know, June was a bit of a month of recognizance, with really recognizing my humanity, and but which is great. And so what I'm working on now is really simple: enjoying the summer a little bit more. Putting out some really good Udemy videos. We're just about to upload one on how to deal with difficult people in the workplace, difficult toxic people in the workplace.
Excellent.
It's such an amazing program. It's amazing. Can't wait. And the second one that we're just completing, and my lovely husband, who's our editor, has been really busy, so he's taking a little time, but it's coming. It's coming for this summer, for August, is the keys to long-term passionate marriage. The fundamental keys to long-term. Like, you want to know how to work marriage. You want to know how to really do marriage in a really constructive, fundamental, passionate way. You got to watch this program, and it's a long one. It's 2 hours.
Nice.
So yeah, this first one, the how to deal with toxic, difficult people in the workplace is about an hour and 15. And so that'll be 7 programs that we have up on udemy.com.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
can't wait. Can't wait. You are you doing this alone?
Well, with Michael Ballard, who is the Resiliency for Life guy, he's awesome. Okay. And myself, we're sort of a really good team together. We're creating these great programs.
Okay.
And go to my website, visualizationworks.com, where you can get my books. My first book is called, I even have one here. Hang on. I'm in the office. I can actually show you a book. Hang on. It's coming. Here it is. First book, Find Yourself Culture. See me chiseling through, not me, but this wonderful woman chiseling through her concrete thoughts.
Yeah.
And hang on, we got a second one. And
connecting,
rewire your relationship culture. So you can go on my website and pick up both of these books, and also my meditation CD. It's all on the website, visualizationworks.com.
Nice. Victoria, as usual, you bring the goods, and I really appreciate you being here. And I feel your energy. You really have chiseled out some stuff. I feel you're different.
After this illness, yes, I agree.
I feel you different. And nice. Not that it was anything wrong before, but it's different.
Maybe it's just a little more centered and a little more grounded, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something like that.
I don't know. There's a softness there.
There you go. That softness. Well, when you chisel away some of that concrete outer stuff that my illness made me look at, it was, it just sort of a gentler, kinder version of ourselves comes forward.
Well, nice to know you.
Thank you. Nice to know you.
Well, thank you very much for bringing this, Victoria. And for those that wish to continue following up with her work, we can find you where?
Visualizationworks.com.
Okay.
And you can look at udemy.com, where all our programs are up there, online programs. We've got the anti-procrastination program. We've got the boundaries program. We've got the how to cope with it, heal from a narcissistic relationship program. Mm-hmm. We've got this the one coming up right now on toxic relationships at work. Beautiful. And so much more coming.
Beautiful. Victoria, thank you.
Thank you.
And continue to heal and spiral up. I'm always about the spiraling up. So thank you very much for being here.
And you too. Whatever's going on, let's have it move out. Yes.
It's happening. It's going.
Right.
We're healing. We're both healing. We're both spiraling.
Absolutely.
And to the Mojo Talk Radio audience, thanks again for being here with our guest, Victoria Lorient-Faibish. You can find her on visualizationworks.com. Her website will be at the bottom of this video, so you can follow up and click through to her hub. I like that, to the hub, and follow up with those amazing books of hers. And we'll be bringing more great programming for you on how that you can apply your mojo power and spiral up your life in amazing ways. Bye-bye, everybody.